Hello crafty friends, welcome to the Crafty Seas. Today we are going to do a little bit of experimenting with some sunprint paper, and basically what you do is you take some of this special paper. I can't take it out the package just yet as it is sunlight sensitive, but you'll have some of this special paper that's in this pack and you arrange whatever you want on top of the paper, set something flat on it and take it outside and expose it to sunlight.
Something clear.
And then you rinse it in water and it exposes like a photograph.
So first of all, we'll quickly show you some of the objects we're going to put on top of our paper to create our outlines. A selection of feathers because I thought these would make some nice detailed shapes. We are also going to use some of our buttons, our larger buttons and smaller buttons from our button tin because these look like a fun shape and a variety of sizes. And lastly, we are going to go into our box and select a range of cogs, perhaps leaves, maybe silhouettes of butterflies or dragonflies, keys, feathers, maybe padlocks with little keys, something probably with maybe a strong outline.
So we're going to take all of these goodies we've just shown you and some that we find in the garden and get sun printing. Let's get crafty and stick around to the end of the video to see the results. So we've got our sunlight paper. We need to act quickly and grab a piece out, and you put it blue side up onto a piece of corrugated card, and then you're going to use whatever you would like to make your negative with. So firstly we're going to use some feathers. And we're going to put something heavy and clear on top. We're just using our Gemini plate, and then we need to expose that to the sunlight for 2 minutes until the dark blue turns a lighter blue, and we'll rinse it immediately in cool water. Okay, as you can hopefully see on the camera, it's turned a slightly lighter shade of blue here. So what we need to do now is grab our basin of cold water and rinse it. And it looks like your image has disappeared once you've rinsed it, but rest assured, once you leave it to dry, the image will reappear. Next up, we're going to experiment with some buttons. And that's been 2 minutes, so we'll give it a rinse in the water and see what happens. Once we've rinsed it, our image almost disappears, but as the paper dries, hopefully it will reappear. In fact, in front of my eyes, I can see the details of the buttons re-emerging.
Oh, I can see them from here, yeah.
And a tip that we picked up doing the sun printing is once you place your objects down, you can't really move them as they begin to expose. So you need to be quick and decisive in your placement of your objects. And here we've used some cogs, and I think you'll agree it's really striking. Can't wait to see this when it's fully dried. Next we gathered some ferns from the garden and used these to do a sun print. And personally I think these turned out fantastic. You can use absolutely anything you want to sun print with. String, ribbon, here we used the padlocks and the keys. It's really up to you. It's such a fun technique and it's great for all ages. You can do it with children and adults alike. Here we've used some contorted willow grass to make a very interesting pattern as well. And We do the same process for every one, place the objects, expose to sunlight for 2 minutes, and then rinse in clean cold water and lie flat and leave to dry. So stay tuned and we'll show you the finished products. We are back inside now. We have let our sun prints dry. They didn't take too long to dry, just the water needed to evaporate off them. And we're now going to share with you the finished pieces.
This is our first one. It is the very soft feathers, and as you can see, just a super fine imprint it has left on it. The more compacted feathers and more, I would say, manufactured feathers aren't as clear as the more fluffier ones, I would say. That's lovely, that texture here.
It's all fun and experimentation. As I said, this is the first time we had used this on paper, but a tip that I would suggest is that solid shapes provide more of a contrast and a better image than more opaque or translucent shapes.
I agree, that's true. Then we tried the button tin, and we used different sizes and different shaped buttons. Lovely heart button here, and they actually almost looks like a cobalt blue, like a soft denim.
Anyone who is a BTS fan out there, this piece of art is also inspired by RM solo work Indigo, where he and Jimin and Suga went and tried this technique as well. So it was fun to try something that members of BTS have tried as well as.
And here we have, this is one of, I would say, my favourite ones. This was the heavier weighted cogs, and that worked really well outside. And I do love working with the cogs anyway and using mixed media, but I would say that these have given it a super clear outline on the majority of these cogs and a lovely backdrop.
This is my personal favourite. It was one that we used the ferns from the garden, and it gives a lovely contrast and nice nature themed. I think it would be lovely if we use this in a project, maybe for a card.
Super. And this one is the assorted keys and locks, and this was mostly clear, but not as clear as some of the other ones, I would say, maybe because of the thickness of some of the lockets, but super old keys and lovely shapes. And look at this one, the key, and you can see the little jump ring. Fantastic. This is a much more hazier one.
Again, it's a trial and error with the exposure. You have to wait until the paper starts to turn to a light blue, but if you leave it too long, it can be overexposed. So it's really important to try and watch it develop and keep to that 2 minutes and instantly dunk it into the cool water to start the development process. But again, it's very ethereal and
it is. Shades are stunning, and sometimes even though if you move the table or if it was slightly windy in the paper blue, that can also affect the absorption. This was a fun process. As you'll see, we used contorted grasses, and it actually does look like the sunlight on the sea, and you can see the wavy lines here and the different shades, and it's stunning as well. I really love that. And then we got a bit carried away and we decided to put cogs and keys and dragonflies and just a real mixture of things on.
And lastly, this was a pure experiment. We decided to grab a die cut that we had lying on our craft table, a high heel die cut, some charms, jigsaw pieces, a lace butterfly, and some metal embellishments, just to see if that would work as a technique, and it has. So you could really go to town with this with your die cuts or anything you have lying about. It's super fun. So we're going to use these in future projects. We're not quite sure yet, but I'm sure we'll make something fun with them. If you could let us know in the comment section below what your favourite image print that we made was today, and have you ever tried sun photo printing? We'd love to hear from you. Stay tuned to the channel to find out what we make with our sun prints, and until next time,
Happy crafting!